All right, today, hey, we have a cool class today. It's a new thing we're doing. Something I haven't talked about, and it emerged out of a lot of things that we've been watching, and I've had a lot of conversations with my wife about this, or she's had a lot of conversations with me, which is usually how it goes. Meaning that she's the one that gives me ideas. And I think I really just want to talk about this teams and what it means for where we're at right now as a society, and how to think about some things that I think, because there's a way in which everything that we talk about in a class on race and ethnic relations is somehow connected to teams. And whose team are you on? Whose team are you not on? What's the impact of being on one team as opposed to another team? How equal or unequal are the members of different teams? How is that? What's the history of certain teams compared to other teams? And in a way, it's so much about teams that and there's a certain sense in which we could really spend the entire semester framing the class around this. And so I want to start with a case study, and let's see if we could get 2 volunteers. And what I would like are people, I need someone who's really a sports fan from Philly. That shouldn't be hard to get. You have to be a super fan, though. You don't have to be a super fan. You just have to be a fan. Bro, is that you from Philly? All right, man, you're on. Do you have any Phillies gear on by chance? Tattoos? All right. And how about somebody from Pittsburgh? A fan from Pittsburgh. Is that you? Are you a super fan or a fan? Dude, all right, come on down. There you are, man. What's your name, bro?
Joe.
Joe. What's up? And where are you from in Philly?
I'm from Westchester.
Oh, you were up here before, right?
Not up here, but I've had the mic before.
All right. Dude. What's going on? What's up, man? Pittsburgh?
I'm from Allentown, but I live and breathe Pittsburgh sports.
But you're a Pittsburgh.
Die hard.
Die hard?
Die hard.
Live and breathe. Okay, so hang on. What's your name first off?
Ryan.
Ryan. So class, meet Ryan, who lives and breathes. Yo, hang on. Lives and breathes Pittsburgh sports. And Joe, do you live and breathe Philly sports?
Yeah, mostly the Eagles, but...
Mostly the Eagles. Wait, and...
Go Birds.
Wait, hang on. Just right there. We got team spirit all the way. So what's it mean to live and breathe Philly sports? What's that mean?
Like Philly? Oh, like are you asking me about Philly or Pittsburgh?
Or Pittsburgh, I mean. Yeah, Pittsburgh. Sorry, it's the same thing to me. I obviously don't live and breathe sports.
Well, every Sunday, my week is pretty much dictated by whether or not the Steelers lose.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so so what do you mean? What does that mean? It's dictated.
So I don't know, the Steelers lose on Sundays, I'm in a pretty shit mood for I don't want to
Hey, you're in a bad mood.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty bad mood for the entire week.
And what about the off season?
I mean, I love the draft, so I'm I've been listening to every podcast that anybody with any kind of legitimate knowledge puts out.
Yeah? And so when did you first have the realization that you were a Pittsburgh sports diehard?
I don't know. I grew up with my dad was a football coach growing up, so I just grew up since I was 4 years old watching games on Sundays and that kind of thing. So he was a big Steelers fan, so that's when I got into it.
All right. So, bro, how about you, man? What's it like being a Phillies sports fanatic?
Well, I mean, I'm constantly following the Birds. Anytime anything happens, I'll know about it instantly. I got all the notifications on my phone. I got Bleacher Report, ESPN, everything set up. And like if something bad happens or something that I don't like happens, like I'm constantly like texting friends, texting family, always like seeing what everyone's thinking about it. And like if they lose, then, you know, like he said, I'm in a bad mood for the week, but then you're looking ahead to the next week trying to
Hoping
get in
for a better
mood.
outcome.
Yeah.
What is your what makes this really important?
I just love football. So like, and they're my team. Like I've grown up Philly sports fan and especially an Eagles fan.
So wait, go back. You said, did you say my team?
Yeah, they're my team.
What's that mean, dude?
It means that like I ride or die for them.
The way you do what?
It means I ride or die for them.
Really?
Yeah.
So just like you, your whole life, it's like,
Yeah.
so you guys, so you're enemies in a way.
I mean, I rooted for the Eagles against the Patriots. I hate the Patriots more than I hate the Eagles.
Wait,
Yeah, like Tom Brady makes out with his son.
wait, so- Wait, so you guys, so you two, the two of you, have, so you even though you're enemies in a way, okay, so you supported them against the Patriots. Would you
Yeah.
support?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd always support the Steelers over the Patriots.
Really?
Yeah.
What's with the Patriots? Okay, but anyway, all right. United by a common enemy. So even though the enemy of my enemy
Is my friend.
is my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I got you. There you go. Wow. All right. But you really are enemies, though. Like, if the two of you are playing each other, your two teams are playing each other, you're like,
Oh yeah. But if they're like if they're playing Dallas or like if they're playing the Patriots, I'm always rooting for the Steelers over them. Like they're not my least favorite team. Like there's some teams
Okay.
I
so how did you
dislike way more.
So how did you actually get to this place of being deciding or somehow realize, like the DNA of being a Philly sports fanatic was like in you? Like when did that get put in you, or how?
Well, I guess like so I have family in Philly, so like we've been going to the games like since like I was younger, like, and so since then I guess it's just been fed into me, and I guess my interest in football like got me even more, made me even more of a diehard fan for the Eagles, and so just me getting more and more into it over the years got me to where I am.
Okay. Hey, by the way, class, this is really essential for today's class. So what we're going to talk about, and actually not only just for today's class, but for life itself. So every word you guys are saying is amazing. So how about you? When did you first discover?
I mean, probably the first time I ever like truly got into it was like when the Steelers beat the Seahawks. I think it was 2000. I want to say 8. It was Super Bowl 40. Hines Ward was my favorite player growing up. Dude always had a smile on his face. So I love that. So that was like the first time I ever like watched every single game. Like I was up and down emotionally.
So I just have a final couple of questions here. Was there a moment where you consciously decided, for either of you, right, that you were this was going to be your thing, you'd be a fanatic?
Yeah, when they won.
When they won.
Yeah.
So that moment for you.
See, I don't think there's a specific moment. I think it all just happened over time. Like for me, I guess looking back on it, the moment that I realized like that I guess I kind of was, or now realizing I kind of was like in 2013 when Chip Kelly was the head coach and we lost to the Saints in the playoffs.
So, okay. So listen, when you were talking earlier, both of you were talking about the Patriots. So tell me what's wrong with the Patriots. Like what's wrong that would lead you both to have such a negative reaction toward them and then like so many people in the class?
So, I mean, I respect like the greatness and everything that they've been able to do. Like being able to put 6 Super Bowl rings together in the span of 20 years is an incredible accomplishment that you just don't see in sports all that much. But over that course of time, I mean, you've had cheating scandals that they videotaped other teams and then lost a first-round pick. Like that doesn't cripple an organization the way that it should. Like punishment for that should.
And what? How about? Let me just ask a follow-up. What do you think about Patriot fans? Because all their fans are really into them. Like, what do you think about them?
I mean, yeah, if I was winning every other year, I'd probably jump on the bandwagon too. But
What's an Eagles fan think about a Patriots fan?
Well, Patriots fans, like, I mean, some of them are cocky and arrogant, and some of them are just like more humble because they know like they win all the time.
What do they think about? What do Patriots fans think about Eagles fans?
Well, they probably think that we're a bunch of like jackasses who like go hard for our team.
And what do Eagles fans think about Steelers fans?
I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on Steelers fans, but I mean, everyone's ride or die for their team.
Dude,
that's how fans work. Like every fan thinks they're the best, and like they're the best fans in the world, even though the Eagles fans are. Because I mean, other than Bills Mafia has a good, the Bills, they have a really good fan base as well. But
okay, all right, dude. What do Steelers fans think about Eagles fans?
Well, Philly's got its own reputation for how their fans are, just for being a little bit more obnoxious, a little bit more rowdy, a little bit more throwing snowballs at Santa. But I mean, I don't hold that against them. Like a lot of my boys growing up were Eagles fans. Like they're all good dudes, so I don't pigeonhole Eagles fans. I mean, everybody's got their team. Everybody, every team has its.
Okay, hang on. Given what he just said, everybody's got their team. Everybody's got that kind of sports team or some team that really, really matters to them. How many it's a generalization. I think it's probably mostly true. How many of you would raise your hand and say, yeah, I have a team that really matters to me? Really? That's a lot. That's probably 3/4 of the class. And probably the rest of the people are just too lazy to raise their hands. 3/4. Dude, basically, who doesn't have a team that whether it's in college, high school, whatever, who doesn't have a team that they follow really closely and they feel really connected to? One, maybe like 10% of the class. All right. Dude, you got one final statement?
Yeah, because I feel like even though people may not have a sports team, everyone has a team in some way. Like whether it be like, I don't know, some people follow video games more closely or something like that. Like everyone has a team or a person that they follow.
Maybe. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Thanks, bro. Dude, you guys are awesome, man. Dude, and you clearly, just the ease at which you talked about the issues. I could be up here for you could teach a whole class on sports fandom. Dude, thanks, gentlemen. Yeah. Yeah, this is amazing. Awesome. Sometimes it's so much fun to teach this class because I'm just discovering things. Dude, well, hang on. The only reason I teach this class is because I'm discovering new ideas. So let me go here. Take a look at this. We all know what that is. And that is spectacular. That is a spectacle. And how many of you have been to a whiteout? Raise your hands. How many of you do not think it was a spectacle? Anybody? It's awesome. Like the energy, the intensity, like, oh my God, even to go to a game that is not like that is pretty unbelievable. That you can get so many people together in a single place, all focused on the same thing, just sociologically speaking. It's amazing. And take a look at this. That is a spectacle. Look at this. So I grew up 50 miles south of Michigan, and the first game of anything, professional, college, whatever, was a Michigan football game. And I was just a little kid when the stadium was a little bit different, sitting up in the high-end seats. But that's a spectacle, my friends. And it's even more people than the Penn State spectacle, I should add. But that's pretty amazing. And so here's the leader for Team Blue and White, and here's the leader for Team Yellow and Gold. Here are the players. Here we go. It's exciting. It's this guy or this guy. One or the other. Just like the spectacle. It's this one or this one. Or this one or this one. They're all equally, and I say or because they're all equally spectacular. The coaches are amazing. The coaches are really dynamic personalities. The players are amazing. They're at that high level of the ability to play. But now here's the question, right? So all are equally really spectacular. This and this, they're the same. But now let's talk about the or. So here. So part of being a human being, part of being human is connecting to other people. That you're not human until you begin to connect to other people. And once we begin connecting to other people, we have things, we notice that we have things in common and we have things that are different. And once we start sharing the things in common, we start breaking up into these social groups. And we start identifying with things about the other people that are really interesting. And we start not identifying about things about other people that we don't find interesting or that we just decide that we're not connected to. Or maybe they undermine our way of being, or they undermine something, or for some reason we just don't have that connection. But once we start identifying with different groups, different systems, and different people, we start building this sense of self. In the world of sociology, we call it the me part of the self. It's who I am sociologically. And it becomes our identity. And our identities are built around these connections, they're built around the groups into which we're really grounded. And so what's fascinating about these slides is that it doesn't really matter whether you're wearing Penn State paint or Michigan paint. So if you would have applied to several different schools and you get into Michigan or you get into Penn State, it's all the same. It doesn't really matter. But you get here and things start to happen. You start to see blue and white. You start to see Penn State everywhere. You suddenly go out and you buy your gear on day one. And then you learn the cheers. And then you go to the freshman orientation and you start doing the We Ares and you learn the song, the Penn State song. And then suddenly it all becomes, you start drinking, you don't even realize that we've been drinking this kind of Kool-Aid. And suddenly we become Penn State fanatics. And what's going on is that at Michigan, they're doing the same thing. And what you hear here at Penn State is when you go to the freshman convocation, you hear from the president and the provost and various deans and various people that Penn State's the number one school in this, and Penn State's the best at that, and Penn State's amazing for all of these reasons, and you're so lucky to be part of Penn State. We have the greatest football tradition in the world, and we have the best coach in the world. We have the best fans in the world, and there's nothing like a Penn State whiteout. There's nothing like that. Except that what's going on is that in Michigan, in Ann Arbor, they're doing the same thing. And the students in Ann Arbor are getting the same message. And they're going to their freshman convocation and they're hearing it. And they're showing up on day one. And the shops are just filled with Wolverine gear. And they're buying it and they're putting it on. They're trying it on. They're getting comfortable in their blue and gold. And they're learning the Penn State fight song, or the Michigan fight song, and the Michigan alma mater, and all of these things. And they're hearing that Penn State's the number one school in these things. And they have more people showing. Their stadium's the largest stadium in the world, and one thing after another. Their long storied tradition of their football program and one sport after another. And they're getting the same thing. And so what's happening for them is they start to identify the Michigan students with all these other students around them who are suddenly, then in their first football game, they're all walking in groups off to the Beaver Stadium, and the Michigan students are all walking in groups off to Michigan Stadium. And it's all happening in a very similar way. And it doesn't really matter whether it's Michigan or Penn State or Ohio State, or whether it's the Eagles or the Steelers or the Patriots. Doesn't really matter. The point is, to a great degree, haphazardly, we end up at a place like Penn State. Maybe you're here because maybe some of you applied to Penn State in Michigan, and maybe accidentally your Michigan application got set aside. And you actually got admitted, but they forgot to send it to you. And so by chance you're here at Penn State, the greatest university in the world, with the best football team in the world, and the most amazing this and the most amazing that. And aren't you so lucky to be at Penn State, this fabulous school? Like, how awesome is that? Because that now becomes the identity. And then you love these people. Or let's say you're born in New England. In the Patriots, are you kidding? That was not a cheating scandal. The Patriots got pulled under the rug on that one, man. They got dragged through the mud. That was not a scandal. That's bullshit. They got called out on something. You're wrong. It's like, it's fine. The Patriots can't do anything. They don't do anything wrong. It's all good. Like, how crazy of you to even make a statement like that. See, that's everyone, you're just jealous that your team didn't win 6 trophies. Whatever it is, you can come up with anything. Doesn't matter, but I happen to be in Boston, and so therefore I'm going to come up with the story that I want to come up with. And so because we need to belong, we start forming these identities around things that really are larger than life, and they feel really good, and they feel really powerful. And it feels awesome to be part of either this or this. And you can't be on 2 teams, my friends. I go to Penn State games, and let me tell you how it is for me. Because I'm really not on teams. And I'm not even on my own team. So I'm not on teams. When they do, what's the thing called? The wave? This is me doing the wave. The whole stadium is doing the wave. This is me. Here it comes, here it comes. And then I watch it go around. I'm like, isn't this awesome? Look at these people doing this wave. Whoa, as a sociologist, this is so cool. Look at all these people. They're following. Here it comes again. Oh yeah. All right. That's me. I can't be on a team. I go to Michigan. I can't be on their team. I go to Penn State. I can't be on their team. I can't be on anyone's team. It's not fun to be me. Because I want to have that feeling that some of you have, where like you go to one of these events and you lose yourself. It's, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so cool. And like, it's an out of body experience. And I don't have that. You can't be on 2 teams. If you want to be, you can't have the feeling if you try to be on multiple teams. And that feeling of belonging, that feeling of intensity, that feeling of us versus them. And the feeling you want is the usness. Because when you feel the power of the usness, it's like, yeah, this is good. These are my people. These are people who are righteously aware of the world as I see it. And if I step away from the usness that is me, then I try to walk over and maybe be a little bit part of the other team. I can't be. First off, my team won't let me, and they won't let me. There's no way. And then once I do start to move over and say, well, hang on, let me just go to a Eagles game. I know I'm a Pittsburgh fan, but I'll go to an Eagles game and see what this is like. And like, nah, okay, it's not the same. It's not the same. So here. What's this remind us of, my friends? What's it remind us of? Anybody? Anybody want to go there? What's it remind us of? You feel where I'm going? You get it? You see it? Us and them. We're the righteous one, they're the wrong ones. No matter what. Dude, my man here says politics. It's the same thing. It's teams. We have this idea, for example, that people choose their politics thoughtfully and logically, like you choose your banker. Yeah, this is big. These are important issues. I got to think about these issues. I got to think about, this is the future of my life. This is the future of my country. This is the future of the world. And so therefore, I got to really think about these things and what it means. I got to do my research. So here, sports teams. It's like, how many of you, does anybody in here, when you thought about sports and what sports team you're going to follow, did you sit down and kind of first off, check out what sport you really wanted to follow? Like, what's really a cool sport and why and all the reasons for it. And then okay, let me find a team that just really works for me. I like the team. Maybe I like the players for now, but they'll probably be different in a couple of years. But the coach seems cool. The owner seems cool. I like the logo. I kind of like what they stand for, all that. How many of us do that? Pretty much nobody. And how many of us do that with our politics? Really, really sit down politically? Or do we choose our politics mostly like we choose our sports teams? And what we know is, that's what we do. And then suddenly we identify with certain people who identify with other people. Not the ideas, by the way. Not that we identify with certain ideas. There may be a couple taglines or a couple general ideas that we pick out. But we're not identifying with a system of ideas. Maybe a couple phrases. A couple things that we can shout out. Cliches, in other words. But not the issues. It's not about the issues. Oh, I follow my parents or this or that. It's yeah, I go this route. Like my bands. How many of us ever sat through, so think about those of us who are band fanatics, right? How many of us sat through and listened to every single type of music in the world to say, I got to find out what music really suits me. From polka to country to reggae to whatever, all of the music in the world. And then you kind of find your genre and you're like, okay, I like that. That's pretty cool. Versus how many of us are just grabbing onto something because our friend came over and said, hey man, check this out. When we're, 12 years old. Hey, you got to listen to this music. This is pretty cool. And then suddenly you get something by them, and then you get a T-shirt. The T-shirt is the key with music. Now, once you get that first T-shirt, you're in. It's the same with sports. You get that first hat, you're in. You start wearing that hat, that's your identity, my friends. It's everything. The Penn State gear, that's why on day one you got to go get your Penn State gear. And that's when it starts. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I got this. You get the Bernie button, man. You feeling the burn? Right now, it's the country is burning hard. Feeling the burn. There's something happening. And more people, I'm hearing it around me. People are talking about the burn. And people are suddenly feeling the burn today that weren't feeling the burn a week ago. I'm like, what happened? Did you just go research the burn? Did you go listen to a bunch of talks that the Bern is doing? Did you suddenly get on board yeah, I've been really watching this guy and I'm feeling like this could be my man because this is or did you just randomly start feeling the burn because people around you are feeling the burn? For example, a couple weeks ago when Penn State basketball was on an 8-game win streak and suddenly look, my friends, I've been here for 30 years. There's only one other season that even comes close to matching this season. And Penn State basketball is on an 8-game win streak. And suddenly there's this energy at this campus around basketball just because they won 8 games. I'm like, whoa, why? What happened? They won 8 games. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything in the life of anybody in this room. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't change. Even I found myself getting on Onward State and reading a couple articles. And I know some of the basketball players. So I'm like, hey, how'd so-and-so do? Because they were in class. So oh, yeah, all right, what about this? What about that? It's you feel this energy just because they won a few games. Do you guys do you feel when your friends do really well on their quizzes and stuff, do you feel good? You get excited by that? It's all good. So now we're feeling the burn. right now, because something happened. It's like, oh, okay. A few weeks ago, it was somebody else. And then it starts to go. And it's really not about the ideas, right? So look, it's like being part of a team. Being part of the team. Look at this woman here, right? Look at her. Look at this guy. For this guy, being part of this team is far more important than what the team stands for. What the team stands for, I will tell you something. I don't know, because I don't know who that guy is, but I got a funny feeling that for the people in this photo and the people in this photo, whether it's this woman or that guy or this guy, that being part of that team right there is infinitely more important than anything that team represents or the Trump represents or the Trump thinks or the Trump says. In fact, if these people have if I could give them a mic, pull one of them in right now, boom, bring them up to the front of the class, hand them a microphone and say, hey, tell us everything you know about Bernie Sanders. I'll bet I might get about 75 seconds. And if I said the same thing about Trump to that guy right there, no, let's go with this guy. Maybe I would get a minute and a half. I'm talking about like really thoughtful ideas. It's not about Trump. It's not about Sanders. It's not about what the ideas are. It's about being part of teams. And so people have this idea, like we'll talk about, well, how can you support this guy? How can you support Sanders? How can you support Trump? How can you support whoever? It's not about supporting. It's about being on a team. It's cool to be on a team, man. Dude, listen. So, I'm just thinking about where I want to go here. So listen, Mom. Here's some of the issues. So when we look at Bernie Sanders followers and Trump followers, this is from a Gallup poll, the data. On these 10 things, these first 5 things, they mostly agree. They mostly agree on Bernie Sanders supporters. Let's just go with Democrats and Republicans. Primary, center of the road Democrats, center of the road Republicans. They mostly agree these are the top 5 issues facing the campaign. And they really don't disagree that much on how to resolve them. When you ask people and you say like, I'm not talking about you take the Trump supporter who you're not taking this guy and this guy or this woman. I'm talking about average people who support Trump or support one of the Democratic candidates. And you put them down and you ask them, how do we resolve these issues? They mostly are going to come up with very similar recommendations on the issues. Not only what the issue is, how important the issue is, and how to resolve the issue itself. And yet we have this idea that they are so polarized. That they're on completely different teams. They're completely different worlds. And in some ways, they are on completely different teams, of course, right? But their thinking is not that different. Just like Joe and Ryan. Fully in agreement on so many things, just different teams, very similar analyses, very thoughtful, very smart analyses. Just different teams. You could make an argument. You guys could have made an argument for one thing or another thing. It didn't really matter. Just different teams. And so you think, wow, it's fascinating that we live in this world where we start talking about we keep talking about all these divisions. And we mostly agree. Crazy. And we're not talking about the radicals. There's always like the radical out here. The radical over here. We're talking about the vast majority of people who are on one team or another team, and they mostly agree. But you know what? It feels good. It feels good to be on one of these teams, though. It's like, when you're at a Penn State game or any game, like Steelers game, Flyers game, or whatever game you want to be in. You know, like when your team's doing really well and there's just that energy around you and people are out of their seats and they're like, yeah, you know, kill them, do whatever. I don't know what you yell at games, like, you know, but you're just feeling really good, right? Well, that's what's going on here. And the more Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or whoever some of the other candidates are, or you know, Donald Trump, the more they take pot shots at the other side. Hey, let's just lob these ideas at the other side. You know, Donald Trump's really good at this. He's got a ton of one-liners. And Bernie Sanders is really good at it, just talking about Trump. And they just keep lobbing these things to the other side. And it feels good if you're on one of those teams. If you're like at a Sanders event and he keeps lobbing stuff to the other side, you start to feel good about it. It's just like when your team is destroying the other team and they're up by 40 points and they scored yet another touchdown. And you're just like, yes, just keep sticking it to them. But the problem is with politics, it's not just that it feels good. It confirms your ideology and your values about the people who are on the other side. So it's not just that your side, you can feel good here in this group. When your candidate and the people around you are lobbing these bombs onto the people at the other side, it confirms everything you know about how bad and evil and horrible they are. Because they become like this existential threat. They become dehumanized. You dehumanize them. They're not like you. It's just like Michigan fans are not like us. Ann Arbor is a whore, my friends. Right? Dude, have you heard that, bro? Who says that? Like, who says that? We were giving out pins a few years ago for the Michigan game here at Penn State. Somebody justified making a pin that said Ann Arbor is a whore. Like, oh my God. Like, that got justified. Some people walking around with a pin that said that. Like, that just, first off, it just makes no sense. And secondly, it's just so mean and stupid. But this is what we do. And we keep going. Because it's really black and white, man. These people, in order to be that guy right there, you got to be really black and white in your thinking. In order to be these people right here, you got to be really black and white in your thinking. You got to dehumanize these folks, and these people got to, look at that guy's look on his face, man, right there. Look at that guy's look. He is, I don't know what, I know nothing about that guy at all, this dude right there, except that I know that he is 100% correct in everything he thinks. There is no nuance in his thinking. He is 100% right, black and white, and that's all it is. And my guess is, same with her right there. But that's not how issues operate. This is far more complex than that. This is like me deciding, you know, I'm in the admissions committee, and I'm going to decide, oh, well, here's... Michael, right? Oh, you're going to go to Penn State or you're going to go to Michigan? You're going to go to Michigan randomly. And you're at Michigan. And then you somehow think your whole life has opened up in these ways. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm at Michigan. It's the same thing here. You can switch sides. Very few of us pick our political preferences. We don't join these teams because we've thought about it. We don't sit down and think about the issues. Say, all right, hang on. Let me do the research here. Let me figure what this is. Let me do all the research on all these questions. Let's see not what Bernie says. Let's actually think what he really means. So Bernie made this comment about Cuba the other day. And like the whole world is upset about Bernie because he supports communism. Really, let's actually think about what he said. And then let's actually explore Cuba a little bit. And let's actually find out if what he said was true. Because this is pretty complicated stuff. And so, but it's actually not that complicated. You can figure it out. But, if you're busy, like, say, Joe and Ryan, if we're busy thinking about really investing our time in sports, which is fine, then we don't have time for this stuff over here. And so then, when we join one of these teams, then the problem becomes, what do we really know and what are we really saying and what does it really mean for the rest of us? And is it really about them? Can we say anything about these people or anything about these people if they all just randomly join teams? And now think that they're right, are certain that they're right. Because when in fact they have no idea what the other side is thinking. Okay, so here. So now we're at these issues. Right? It's not about issues. This election and what we're experiencing right now is really not about issues. It's about polarization. It's about joining teams, like becoming a Penn Stater, wearing Penn State gear, and not understanding that, yeah, I'm choosing to wear Penn State gear because I just happened to come here. Maybe because my parents came, or maybe because I just happened to get into Penn State, and so I'm here. So I'm choosing to wear this gear. But it's a choice that I'm making. Just like I'm going to choose to be part of one political team or another. But if it was really about issues, if this was really about issues, we'd see that we're not actually that polarized. Here, listen. Let me do this. By the way, can I just say something really fast? It's actually kind of big to think about we've just randomly divided up into teams and we're not divided on the issues. In the degree to which we're divided on issues, it's really tiny pieces of issues. Like, hey, we're going to build a wall. Or we're not going to build a wall. It's like, what's that mean? Here, I just want to show you this. Hang on. We're not divided by the issues as much as we're divided by our teams. And that's big. It's really big. It's huge. You know, one of the things that over the years, so you think that the people who would most dehumanize other people would be soldiers. Because, you know, when you have to kill somebody, when you're called upon to actually take the life of another person, you have to dehumanize that person at some level, or you're not going to be able to take their life. I mean, this is just a given. This is part of it's really hard to get anybody to take the life of somebody else. It's really difficult. Trust me. It is not easy. And we have a long history of training soldiers with alcohol. Because it's only the ability to get soldiers, and I'm going back thousands of years, it's the only way to get people to do the things that you want them to do. But ironically, I've had a lot of opportunity to work with soldiers. And so the very people you would expect to most dehumanize other people, what I have discovered, are often the very people, are generally speaking, the very people who dehumanize even less. And the higher up I go, so when have had conversations with people in special forces and Green Berets, and whether they're in the Marines or the Army or the Navy SEALs. So I've had lots of conversations with lots of people who have done things that I can't even begin to imagine that they did. These people have so much respect for their enemy. It blows me away sometimes. I was at a gathering, my wife and I were a number of years ago, where we were leading this conversation with all these special forces people, and we walked away saying, these people are like social workers. They're more like social workers than social workers. Like this guy right here. You would expect that. You expect him to be like really tough and hate and so on. And no, he's more likely to not dehumanize. He's more likely to be able to look at his adversary and have a certain amount of respect for the adversary. Because he has a more nuanced understanding of the world, or she. In this case, it's a he because it's a guy, but or she because you're out and you develop a nuanced understanding and you see things. It's the lower levels of people that are like, that lose their minds and dehumanize. These guys right here. So like, you know, athletes, the higher you go, the more skilled you are as an athlete, the more respect you have for the other side. The Michigan and Penn State fans might be duking it out in the bleachers, getting all drunk and fighting each other and God knows what, but not these dudes. They're going to be on the field playing the game and trying to knock each other's blocks off, but after the game, they're going to go over and start hugging their opponents and shaking hands and be like, yo, man, awesome game. You did a great job. Meanwhile, up in the fans are up, and the fans still like screaming about the fact that they won. There's like blood coming from their eyes. You know what I mean? And the players who you would expect, they were the ones battling out on the field. You would expect that from them, and they're not. They're hugging their opponent going, hey, good game, man. Awesome. Really cool. I got it. And so like, whoa, the higher, the more nuanced you are in your identity, the more you see things, the more you can really appreciate it. And the lower you are, the more sort of like root, almost like animalistic or something, I'm not sure. Here, I don't know what it is. You know, it's something, the more base we are, the more we engage with the other side, but don't really know anything about the other side. Soldiers learn about the other side. They got it. This guy's going to go off, for example, I talked to a Green Beret one time who was in the mountains in the Kandahar province and fighting against the Taliban. And this dude had so much respect for the Taliban, man. So much respect. He's like, man, you can't even imagine what these guys are able to do with so little weaponry and how they're able to attack us in just ways I can't even understand in a million years how they can do that. Man, mad respect to those guys. And I want to kill them all. But mad respect to them. I'm like, damn, that's really intense. Meanwhile, you got like Bernie Sanders supporters. They would just like drop bombs on Trump supporters, and the Trump supporters drop bombs on Bernie Sanders supporters. And like, dudes, come on, back off, chill out. It's all right. Like, how'd you get there anyway? So why do we have to do that? Why do we do that? Why do we have to dehumanize our opponents? Like, what does that do for us? Except justify somehow in our own minds that we don't understand what's going on. Maybe a lot of us feel like, I know that for me, when I feel like I don't understand things and I'm like, something's really complicated, and sometimes it gets sort of to the end of an argument. Sometimes with my wife, it's like she wins an argument because, you know, she's smarter than I am usually. No, she's always smarter than I am, but she wins the argument, and then I'll just like end it. It's like, yeah, well, fuck you, right? And like, I'll just end with that. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not very smart. But, you know, I was able to drop the bomb, but she won. She won by meaning like she thought out whatever it was we were going at each other for, and she thought it through and she got it, and then I do that. Maybe that's why we dehumanize, because it's just easier. So here, this is what I'd like. I want to do another case study really fast. Here, what I would need is a Trump supporter and a Bernie Sanders supporter, like a hardcore Bernie. You know, you feel really good about Bernie. You don't have to be that hardcore, but you just feel the burn, man. You feel the burn. I mean, okay, you did at least before today's class. But you can feel the burn. It's all good. It doesn't matter. So I need someone who feels the burn and someone who feels the Trumpity Trump. That wants to make a... Dude, do you want to make America great again, or are you feeling the burn? Feeling the burn? Yeah. Dude, you want to make America great again? All right, dude, you two, come up. It's all men again. All right. Wait, is America not great already? I thought we were already great, dude. Like, well, I never understood that. Dude. All right, we're going to make America great again, my friend. This guy right here. Here, you can take that. What's your name?
Mohammed.
What is it?
Mohammed.
Mohammed?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Or where's your family from?
No, I am from Dubai.
From Dubai?
Yeah.
Dude, what's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew, you did. Oh, yeah, you do. You were up here a week ago. Wait, there's no other Trump support? And nobody else in the class wants America? Dude, you're on. You're good. Yeah, it's going to be you. I don't have time to get someone else. Wait, is there anyone else that wants to make America great again? Could we have a woman, by the way, that would be really... No, hang on, not Emily. I know we have you. Who else? Could we just get a woman up here that wants to make America great again? Wait, where at?
The girl from the first day.
Nah, that's Emily right there. No, does anyone else want to make America? Nobody wants to make America great again? Dude, do you want to make America great again? You were up already. Someone who hasn't been up, man. Wait. Hey, listen, man. Hang on. Okay, listen. Hang on, bro. I'm gonna. Listen, my friends. When Trump was elected, President Trump was elected a couple of years ago, 25% of my class voted for Donald Trump. That means 25% of you support Donald Trump. So you're not even going to have to talk, by the way. It's actually, you're going to do a really, really awesome exercise. Well, you're going to have to talk, but it's very cool, by the way, and you're not going to get put on the spot. So who could come up here? Who wants to make America great again? Is there a woman? Do we not? All right, dude. How about can we just use you? Dude, I'm gonna use him. Despite the fact that you have better hair, but well, I don't know. He has a hat on, but it's a bad hair day. All right, dude. There you are, man. Mohammed, are you in America? You're from Dubai.
Yeah.
You're from Dubai, but do you have a U.S. passport?
No.
Oh,
I'm not American.
you're not gonna vote. You're just feeling the burn.
Yeah.
Is that cool, everybody? Mohammed's gonna feel the burn for everybody. They even feel the burn in Dubai. Well, you should. Climate change is going to take y'all motherfuckers down. So
we're gone zone like 10 years, dude.
What's that?
We're gone zone like 10 years, and 10 years we're under the sand.
Yeah, you got it. But enjoy the 10 years. But you have the Burj Khalifa, so you can get really high up, and you'll be all right. So, all right, y'all, listen, man. So what's your name again?
Cory.
Cory? Where are you from?
Montgomeryville.
Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
All right, man. So here's what we're going to do, y'all. And you can do this in the home audience. You can do this as well. But in the classroom, you can do this. So here's what I want you to do. You can stand up. You're going to probably want to stand up for this. So wait, Cory and Mohammed. All right? So listen, man. So imagine that we divide the world. Imagine that the classroom right here is the entire United States. Okay? The classroom. This is it. This is the entire population in the U.S. And we divide it up into 5 quintiles, right? 5 different groups of 20%. So that's 120%, 2, 3, 4. And these two, we put them together on the side and they become the 5th, 20%. Okay? Now, we got to decide how much wealth. So let's say this is going to be the richest 20% up there. The second quintile, meaning like they're going to, the second richest 20%. The third richest, the fourth rich, and then on the end, these two, we're going to combine them. They're going to be the poorest 20%. Okay? Got it? So you're going to have to decide what percentage of the money each 20% gets. Okay? You got that? Everybody in class, you understand what we're doing here, because you're going to do this as well. So you're going to decide what percentage of the total income and wealth here in the United States. You could do income. Let's do wealth, actually, because it is wealth. We're going to do wealth for each 20%. Okay, so, you ready? So this would be the poorest 20%, meaning these two and these two together, they get this much, versus, say, the richest 20%, the people up there, they're the richest people in the class, or in the country, they get that much. So they get this much more than these folks, than the poorest. Okay? And you see it sort of goes. Okay, cool. We're going to do 4 options here. 4. Got it? 4 options. How about this one? When we say, okay, poorest 20%, okay, you're only going to get this much, and we're going to give a lot more to the wealthiest. Or this option B. So we had option A, option B. Here's option C. Now the poor, whoa, they're starting to go down. They're down below 10%. So they're at about 7% of the total wealth. So all the wealth that's here in this country, so we are the United States, all the wealth here, they get only 7%, the people on the bottom end, they get only 7%, but the folks at the top, the richest people, they get, about 37%. Or this one, whereby, people at the bottom, you basically don't have any wealth. Y'all, next year, they basically don't have any wealth. And the middle, the folks over here, looks like you're getting about, maybe 4%. And then the next 20%, so the folks right here, right? You're getting a bit more. And then the folks at the top, up there, the really rich folks, they're getting, close to 85%. Okay? So we're going to do it. Which system do you think you really would want to use? This one? Is this how, if you were king, right? Which you can understand. You can't understand. You don't have a king. He does, though. So we're all good. So if you were king, would you do this, or this? So everyone in class, you pick yours out, right? So again, got it? Option A, option B, option C, option D. Bro, what would you pick?
C.
You'd pick C?
Yeah.
And Muhammad, which one would you pick?
I mean, it's kind of not that straightforward because you have to ask yourself, what is wealth worth? What is money worth, right? Because you have to ask, what percentage of wealth is livable, right?
Dude, this is like a question an Emirati would ask.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't think so much, my friend. Because what are we talking about? Is it wealth and gold and oil?
No,
and
it's not just that. It's
I know what you mean.
Do you need to use your wealth to guarantee healthcare? Do you need to use it to guarantee,
let's just say,
education? Like if you don't need wealth to have those things, then wealth doesn't matter as much as it would if those things weren't guaranteed.
It doesn't matter what it is. Ideologically, which one's your choice? I love that you're asking those questions. Is it, so hang on, go back. A, B, C, D. You're king, my friend.
Probably B with certain guarantees.
B, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Terms and conditions apply.
Okay. Terms and conditions apply. All right, so listen, man. So first off, let's talk about, why did you choose C?
Well, I wanted an option like not as drastic as D.
Yeah.
Like 0%'s not good for half the population.
Yeah.
But for C, it gives, I believe that 20% on 7% of the nation's wealth, like we have a lot of wealth. And like I believe that's hopefully livable. Like I think you could, but it also drives people, motivates people to move up. Like.
And what's wrong with B?
It's too close together. Like if you're in the bottom 20%, how does that really motivate you to grow and like better yourself and work harder?
All right. Mohammed, you said B. You said B?
Yeah.
Why'd you say B? What is it about B?
Seems a more fair distribution of wealth without like making it so that every single person gets the same amount of income or net worth regardless of
that would be
their
A.
choices.
So that would be A. You wouldn't want A.
What?
That's A. You wouldn't want A.
I'd say be more fair, right? Closer together, making sure that everyone has at least a livable amount of income and a livable amount of wealth, but not so close together, not so even, so that no matter what you do, you'd always be in the same, income bracket.
So how about C? What's wrong with C? Because, what's your name again? Cory. Cory wants C. What's wrong with C?
Well, looking at the bottom 20%, right now I'm thinking about the bottom 20%, and within that bottom 20%, the bottom 10% and the bottom 5%, how much wealth do they have, and is that livable? And
so listen.
I don't know that is.
Yeah, yep. Okay, that's good. Do you have anything to add about it?
I think like even in the B, for B, the bottom 5% of that could be at the same wealth distribution, unless there's like a threshold in which people aren't allowed to fall below.
All right, okay, got it. All right, man. So here's the thing, right? So what's really interesting is the two of you. So Bernie Sanders is seen as the socialist, the hardcore socialist guy who wants to make everyone equal. So that's A. Even more so than A. This is not even making everybody equal. So A is characterized. We characterize Bernie Sanders as being this. Caricaturize. Is that a word? Caricaturize? It's a caricature of that. And this is what we have right now in the United States. So that's not just Donald Trump's America. This is Barack Obama's America. This is Bill Clinton's America. This is George Bush's America. This is the America of Penn State. This is the America of the America. This is what we are right here. And so what's interesting, as a person who would support Trump economic policies, right?
Closest.
Even you said, no, so here's the guy. So you think okay, this guy, Trump, are you kidding me? His economic policies, this is terrible, et cetera, et cetera. Well, hang on. These were Barack Obama's economic policies, my friends, first off. So those who think the world was so much better under Obama, this is it got more unequal under Obama. So I don't know where you were. Well, I know where you were. Most of you were in high school. So you don't, or grade school, or so you have no idea. So that's where you were, right? But Cory's saying yeah, I don't really want that. So, okay, here's a Trump guy saying no, this one, I could live with this one even, you said, but you'd have to work that out.
No, I want it between.
Between them,
yeah,
okay. All right, so listen, man, and here, in Muhammad, the guy who presumably is feeling the burn is still saying nah, I'm not feeling the burn that much. I'm not about that. So it's Trump people, he might be feeling the burn, but he's not feeling it that much. He's nah, I'll go here. Could you live with that one, Muhammad, if that was it? Could you live with that?
I mean, like I said, I could live with that, but terms and conditions apply. I could live, right, there's always going to be wealth inequality, right?
Yeah.
And I could live with a higher level of wealth inequality if certain guarantees were given to everyone.
Okay, I got you. All right. And bro.
Yeah.
And so you don't want that?
No. I mean, it's the second best option.
Yeah, okay. Right. The second best option.
Yeah, the best would be C.
Unless you're down here. It would be the worst best option.
Worst option for you, best option second best option ideology.
Yeah, right. And so anybody in this classroom, most of us in this classroom are not down here. So it's easier to say that. Of course, most of us are not up here either. So that's also a bit of a problem. If we were really up here, it would be a little bit different of a story. There's only so much wealth to go around, So so what I find interesting though is here are the two people with these presumably represent on paper, just the idea. Yeah, I feel the burn and I feel I want to make America great again. I don't know what you call that. But you're really not that different. You know what I mean? We could talk about this on and on, but you're not that different. Neither of you picked the extreme ends, and neither of you want this. So it's okay. So what are we talking about then? I think we could have actually a really interesting, if I kept you up here and said, hey, let's keep the microphones, I'm sure between the two of you, we could have a really interesting conversation. A very thoughtful conversation. So when's the last time any of us had this idea that Trump people are effing out of their minds? Or Sanders supporters are crazy. It's well, here's a couple people right here. They're not out of their minds. They're not crazy. They're actually kind of thoughtful. And everything that you said was actually, for me, I can see that I don't want to have the conversation now, but it's not black and white. We could have a really interesting conversation. You see that? So what's the problem? Where is the problem? Who is the problem? Maybe we're the problem because we're not seeing the team thing. It's you know what I mean? You can support Trump. If you're not on Team Trump, but you're supporting Trump, there's not a problem with that. The goal is to pull back from the team mentality. And if you're saying no, actually I got some really cool ideas about Sanders' ideas. I think a lot of them could work and here's why. But you're not just screaming, drinking the Kool-Aid and then trying to throw it on everybody else, then maybe it's that's kind of cool. All right, let's do that. But when you join the teams and you become the fanatic, that's when we lose our minds. And you want to know why it matters? Because one day, the two of you are going to be in a room together, and you're going to be working on policy somewhere, and you're going to have to solve a problem that is really unsolvable. And it's only going to be solvable if we bring people together from different sides of perspectives. If it was just Cory here trying to solve an intractable problem, or just Muhammad trying to solve an intractable problem, we're not going to be able to solve it. We need multiple perspectives. We need to bring them together. We need to bring them all into the game. Talk about it. So if you, dude, do you ever have conversations with Sanders supporters?
Yeah.
Yeah, how is it?
It's interesting. I took like a lot of like classes in high school that had a lot
Yeah.
of like differing viewpoints, and we
Yeah.
got to speak a lot in them, so it was like cool.
And Mohammed, do you ever have conversations with Trump supporters?
I mean, I took a public speaking class last semester, and there were like a couple Republicans and especially one very outspoken Trump supporter. So I had a few conversations with him. In his speeches, he also mentioned why he supported Trump, specifically like economic policies and stuff like that. So I do have a general idea.
Okay, so you guys have talked to people. Where are all the people that can't talk to each other? Where are they? Because because I brought the Phillies fan or the Eagles fan and the Steelers fan down, right? So Joe and Ryan, they sat down together. They had a civil conversation. They're like, yeah, it's okay, it's all good, and like, yeah, I don't have nothing against you, and if your team's playing that team over there, I'm still going to support your team, and back and forth. So like, where is it? What's the problem, man? Because like Ryan and Joe are like, they're fine. They got it. They're both, you know what? You guys, and hang on, let me just take this. So the thing is, what I actually thought was very interesting, and this kind of, you guys just sit on the table for a hot second. So Ryan and Joe represent remember the soldier I put up there? Right? They represent that. They're the people who are so into the fandom, they're so into sports, that they can actually see past like losing their minds over something, even though they have kind of lost their minds. But you can see the other side. Yeah. Am I right about that, bro?
Yeah. I was just going to say the problem is the politicians. Like, they can't argue. Like, nobody's willing to come to a decent middle ground because they're all so for their parties. Like, it doesn't matter which side you're on. Both
yeah, exactly.
So,
but right, hang on though. It's not nobody. Because, for example, I know lots of politicians in Washington and lots of places who are actually having really interesting conversations with one another.
It's not nobody, but it's a lot of the leaders. Like, if you watch like the debates that go on, they're all just like, oh, he did this, she did that, like all name calling and stuff.
Exactly. So it's the game. So it's just like a sports game, right? So here, check this out. So just like a sporting event. You go to a Penn State football game, and the music is so loud. This is a good, cool point. Thanks for saying it, by the way. The music is so loud, and that lion is roaring, and it's like it's deafeningly loud. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to build the adrenaline up so that people start yelling and screaming and going crazy, right? So you're trying to pump people up to become, in many ways, irrational. And so to psych out the other team. And so in politics, what you're saying is, in many ways, what the political leaders, they're doing the same thing. Trump has a rally. What do you want? A rally like this? Look around here. Dude, stand up real fast. Look at this. It's like, look around the room. It's like people are half dead, half sleeping. It's like if this was would you want to be, if you were a candidate running for office, would you want these people in your rally?
No.
Exactly, because you're all half dead. I want you to build up, man. I want energy. I want intensity. I'm going to build it, and I'm going to start saying things about other people. I'm going to start doing all sorts of things so that you get crazy. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you talk about.
Wait, hang on, real fast. I have a minute and a half. Yes.
So you talk about before the games and trying to psych out the other teams.
And during the game.
During, but after the games, what do? They come, shake hands, and the game is over.
The players do.
Okay,
right.
But that's the teams coming together and squashing. But okay, for Donald Trump and President Obama, their terms are over. How come Donald Trump is still speaking on President Obama years later. Like,
Yeah, but
it's
okay.
just
No, because
constant.
that's part of it, right? And Obama
not.
did that about other people, right? So here, let me give you this. So recently, I had a couple students who were involved in one of the campaigns out in Iowa, former students. They were, hang on, listen to this. I want to make one quick thing. They were sharing a house with all the other supporters of the candidates, right? So they're all sharing the house together. And the Trump people were there as well. And they're all sharing the same house together. These are the supporters. These are the ones running the campaigns, right? And they're like, yeah, okay, they're sharing ideas with one another. These are the folks that are trying to make it happen and trying to win the campaign. And they're still being immensely civil with everybody. And they're doing, dude, Trump, by the way, because the guy just loses his mind in ways that you can't use him as like a, okay, hang on. I'm going to leave. That's a good question, by the way. But hang on, I'm going to leave you with one idea.
By the way, according to the U.S. Census, only about 46% of the people 18 to 26 vote. I don't care who you vote for, just go out and do it this year.
Joe. So listen, man. It may be, hang on. This is the final takeaway. Let me just sit between you guys. So look, there's a way, and I'm going to say something else, by the way. There's a way in which everything we talk about in this class is about teams, and there's a way in which, in terms of race and ethnicity, we're all actually really pretty similar. We're not that different. Dude. All right. I'll see you all on Tuesday.